What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to take you guys through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 9. Game Week 9 fastly approaching the end of this international break finally. Please also remember that the deadline's going to happen on Saturday, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are around the world. But don't worry about that reminder, you just have to put my notifications on for YouTube or Twitter, and you'll get a notification when I do go live on my deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline. Now, as with all our team selections, I'm going to take a quick look at the previous game week, blank game week 8. Don't worry though, I know it's been an eternity since game week 8 actually concluded. So I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of that, but very fast. Then I'll be going into my transfer plan with one free transfer heading into that game week 9 deadline. So that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So as mentioned in the introduction, a very quick rundown of blank game week 8. As you guys would have recalled, I ended up using the wildcard. Was it a success? Was it a failure? Well, luckily, we managed to get a green arrow of about 33%. So that takes us up to a rank of just below the 1 million mark. I know that might not be a great rank for kind of game week 38, but for game week 8, relatively happy with that. But hopefully from now to the end of the season, we can get continuous greens. The overall points were going to be 64 and the game week rank was going to be 1.5 million. It's not too shabby for the first game week of our wildcard, and hopefully from now till that FIFA World Cup we can rebound off it. On the bottom right hand side, one free trance and 0.2 in the bank heading into game week 9. We'll talk about the transfer plan slightly later. We're going to start off on our bench, and the first benching mistake of the season has probably come with James Maddison. Unfortunately, I opted for Maddison on the bench because I had a little bit of a tough fixture. I thought that the Spurs defense was going to kind of hold Maddison slightly better than they did, and at the end of the day I was actually quite lucky only to get one goal because it seems like he was getting most of his Leicester chances. Then Reece James obviously had a blank game week, wasn't going to face Liverpool on that Sunday. Then Neco Williams with only a 1-point appearance. Now, interestingly enough, Danny Ward actually did play in blank game week 8. He just conceded 6 to Spurs and didn't get enough save points to kind of rebound those negatives. Heading on to our starting 11, and Nick Pope, our goalkeeper of choice, unfortunately conceded to Bournemouth. I just saw that Bournemouth notification of their goal and my heart just sank because I do own double Newcastle defense, and I'm pretty sure most of you did wildcard in game week 8 have the same. So only 2 points were going to come from Nick Pope, not too many saves actually occurred there, and unfortunately he actually conceded one of their only shots. But then heading on to our backline, and luckily Cancelo came away with 9 points. Relatively respectable performance from our Man City defender of choice, so I was super happy that I managed to stick with him on our wildcard. Then you guys can obviously see Trippier, but luckily Trippier did get an assist for that penalty, so this shows you how forward he's actually getting in that Newcastle team. And let's just say that he got a clean sheet and a yellow card. And then finally, our fourth defender of choice is actually going to be Kurt Zuma from West Ham. Have relatively good fixtures from now till game week 16, and I thought that he could potentially get a clean sheet in game week 8, but that wasn't the case. Now, our alternative to going for Kurt Zuma was actually going to be going for Maddison from Everton, so that's quite hard to take, but now with Maddison's injury for about a month, maybe Kurt Zuma can still be a good option. Then our midfield department going to start off quite large, yet again with a Man City asset, Kevin De Bruyne with a massive 10 points. So great kind of an introduction into our wildcard team for game week 8, and super happy to keep hold of him, especially if he keeps up this Man City and this Belgium form. But here's where we come to reflect on that Maddison benching. Andreas Pereira only getting 1 point, and the thing about this fixture that also looks bad for the upcoming game weeks is that Willian started and actually took most of the set pieces. So that was a big kind of chance creation for Andreas Pereira. Now that he's lost that, obviously kind of downgrades his attacking threat, which is quite disappointing. But overall, Fulham scored 3 goals and Andreas Pereira wasn't involved in any of them, another worrying sign. Then our 2 Arsenal assets, we're going to have Saka and also going to have Martinelli. Luckily, Saka, our kind of pick out of Bowen. We could have also gone for some other alternatives. I was just quite happy that Saka outperformed Kulusevski and Jared Bowen because those were my 2 alternatives. If you guys did watch the England game, was super happy to own Saka. Looked quite lively when he came on, especially against Germany. And let's just hope that he continues his attacking form going into the next couple of game weeks. Martinelli at his cheap price point, don't really mind that he blanks every once in a while. And also everyone kind of owns him, so the points gained aren't that much. Then finally going on to our forward line, Erling Haaland only getting 1 attacking return, so 1 goal against Wolves, even though they did only have 10 men, so I was quite disappointed with that, but I guess it is an attacking return. So he continues to be so consistent and almost a perma-captain, but will we captain him actually in game week 9? Then finally Mitrovic, not really a good performance from our talisman inverted commas, 3 goals scored for Fulham, no attacking returns for Mitrovic, something must have gone wrong in that game. Luckily though, there was nothing wrong with Isaac, even though he had a pretty lackluster performance, wasn't getting that many chances, but he did score the penalty that Trippier won, and that was going to result in 3 bonus points as well. So Isaac kind of came into our team introduction, got us 9 points, then went off injured, and he's going to be the main player to take out in our transfer plan. So let me know how you guys got on in blank game week 8. Drop it in the comments down below. As I mentioned, it feels like an eternity since the conclusion of that game week. So what better way to update us on your rank and your current points? But now heading onto our transfer plan for the upcoming Game Week 9, not a blank Game Week, not a double Game Week, just a pure single Game Week 9. So what transfers can we make with that one free transfer? So if you guys do recall, as I mentioned, one free transfer, 0.2 in the bank, so we either have to make a downgrade or a very slight upgrade. Now I mentioned this in our forward department that unfortunately Isaac actually returned to Newcastle after becoming injured on the Sweden camp, and therefore he's looking to be out for about 3 to 4 weeks. Now, I am kind of hoping in the press conference either on Thursday or Friday that Eddie Howe gives us an update on Isaac, but he usually is quite cryptic in those press conferences. So the way I'm kind of addressing Isaac is that I do think he'll definitely miss Fulham, then the Brentford game I do also think he'll miss, then he might be back for the United game, which will be quite a tough one. Now if you guys do recall, when I wildcarded in Game Week 8 and I went over my final team selection, I took you guys through certain moves that I currently have planned out. For example, I was going to bank a transfer this upcoming game week. Game week 10 I was going to take Saka to Zaha, then I was going to take Isaac to Solanke come game week 11 so that I have enough funds in the bank to get Salah and Trent come game week 12. So we'll be going on to the replacements, but unfortunately with Isaac, I really did want him for the next 2 game weeks. Fulham and Brentford, 2 sides that haven't kept a whole lot of clean sheets this Premier League season, and that's how I was super confident of maybe 1 or 2 attacking returns. But now that he is injured, obviously we could bench him, but I'm really hoping that Eddie Howe gives us a better indication of the timeline. But let's just say that he's going to be back for next week. I might simply just bench him and play Kurt Zuma. But let's just say that he's going to be out for a long amount of time and we want a replacement. Let's go over some replacements for Isaac. So I'm going to be going over 3 replacements, and this is kind of where we go into the ultimate guide, because if you guys watched yesterday's video, I kind of said I'll be addressing this talking point of Isaac replacements in my team selection because it's a point close to my heart as I'm dealing with it. So the first replacement is kind of an obvious one. It's going to be Ivan Toney from Brentford. Has Bournemouth away up next. Probably one of the best fixtures in the Prem at the moment. XG conceded is pretty bad from Bournemouth's point of view, and Brentford on the top 5 for attacking XG. Next up is Newcastle and then Brighton at home, which are relatively fine fixtures in my opinion, and therefore Toney is probably the best replacement to go for. However, here's where the kind of slammer comes in. Ivan Toney actually rose in price last night, and with 0.2 in the bank, I can no longer afford him, so Ivan Toney's out for my cards as I'll have to take a hit to bring him in. So not super confident on taking a hit, but if you guys do want to go for a set replacement and you have 0.3 in the bank, definitely go for Ivan Toney. But my current selection that I'm actually looking at is going to be Solanke, and I know it's been addressed on Twitter. The XG of Bournemouth is terrible. Spoke about that in the Ultimate Guide yesterday. Solanke's stats are terrible. Not many shots on target, not even any big chances. But that's not really the point when I'm going for him. As I mentioned in my transfer plan for kind of the Game Week 8 wildcard, Solanke allows me to downgrade an option to upgrade Mo Salah and Trent come Game Week 12. So no, I don't think Solanke is going to score a hat-trick in the next 3 games. Yes, he does have Brentford at home, great fixture, Leicester at home, great fixture, and finally Fulham away, great fixture, but Bournemouth stats are pretty bad from an attacking point of view. But still, the fixtures look okay. Solanke is a nailed option, should get 90 minutes, is almost a talisman inverted commas, is on penalties, all that good stuff. So let's just hope that Bournemouth kind of click from an attacking point of view. But please, as I said, this is not kind of the reincarnation of Ronaldo. He's not going to score a hat-trick every single game, but for his price point, I think he'll tick along nicely over this nice run of fixtures. But you guys can obviously disagree with me, but I'm just pleading my case about the fact that when you compare Ivan Toney and Solanke, obviously Ivan Toney's a better option, but with that cash in the bank, I might be able to afford those Liverpool assets come in the future game weeks. But let's just say that you don't want to go for Toney, you can't afford him or something like that. You don't want to go for Solanke, the stats are bad. I want to suggest another alternative, and that's going to be Daka from Leicester. So Solanke and Daka come in at the same price point, but please just be cautious. Daka actually fell ill over this international break, and therefore wasn't playing those friendly games. But let's just say that Daka's back from illness, is training for Leicester. He's a nice enticing option, even though his minutes aren't as nailed. Nottingham Forest up next, Bournemouth away up next. Those 2 fixtures, if Daka starts both of them, massive hauls on the cards in my opinion. But going back to the fact that he's not nailed, we have Jamie Vardy in the wings, Iheanacho in the wings. Both these 2 strikers could start instead of him or alongside him. So for my own team, I'm personally not really looking at Daka because he's not really nailed. I need an option for that blank Game Week 12 with those Man City and those Arsenal assets. I need an option that's guaranteed to start, and that's why I feel Solanke is slightly better than Daka. But I wanted to give you guys an alternative here because I know that Toney's quite expensive, Solanke is just not good, and that's why Daka could be a punt to actually go for. Let me know in the comments down below, who's your Isaac replacement? Are you just benching him for Game Week 9, or are you going for one of the 3 on screen, or are you going for a different option that I haven't spoken about? But now going on to our starting 11, and let's just assume that I did make the Solanke move, so Isaac to Solanke, we would then have 1.5 million in the bank and no free transfers left for Game Week 9. So starting off on our bench, and I really do think there might be a benching headache this week because of Kurt Zuma with that Wolves at home fixture. Now another debate to go over is actually going to be Danny Ward. Yes, I know the Leicester defense is terrible, but Nottingham Forest aren't great from an attacking point of view, so who's worse, the Leicester defense or the Nottingham Forest attack? I usually side with the attack, and that's why I've benched Danny Ward here, but if you guys do want to play him, I can understand why. Let's just hope that he actually gets a clean sheet. But other than that, Andres Pereira, Nico Williams, not going to play either of these two options. Expect Leicester to score. Andres Pereira's attacking threat has gone down now that Williams in the team. So therefore it's kind of between Danny Ward and Kurt Zuma that might be the benching headache. So going on to our starting 11, and the reason why Danny Ward is a kind of a benching headache is because I do own Nick Pope. Fulham away, in my opinion, is a tough game. I do own Mitrovic already. I do expect him to do quite well, and therefore is it worth playing the odds of actually going for Danny Ward instead of Nick Pope, because I don't own any Nottingham Forest attackers. But even though I do think that Nick Pope has a better chance of save points, so even if he does concede, maybe he'll get some save points, maybe even potentially a bonus point. Then going on to our backline that pretty much picks itself. Cancelo against United, a tough game. The Manchester derbies usually have some goals in them, but this is Man City at the end of the day, a super strong side, might even be the best team in the world at the current moment. Now I do hope that Cancelo manages to rebound on this attacking thread because he has been a little bit quiet this Premier League season. But nevertheless, Man City can keep a clean sheet against anyone, so Cancelo can still get us some points. We then move on to Trippier, who also has Fulham away, a very tough game on paper, almost expecting Newcastle to concede against Mitrovic, and that's why I might be relying on some attacking returns from Trippier. But Newcastle is still quite a strong defense, and that's why I do trust them, and Trippier does get forward a bunch. Then our final defender to go for is going to be Reece James. Chelsea face Crystal Palace away, tough game on paper there. Crystal Palace are quite an attacking side, especially at home, and that's why I might slightly worry about Reece James. But under Graham Potter, maybe this is the game to kind of build them up. Defensively, they might be quite secure over these next couple of game weeks, or at least I hope so. But as with all the other defenders I own here, attacking threats off the charts as well, so maybe we can even get an attacking return. Then moving on to our starting 11, Kevin De Bruyne against United. Tough game on paper, I think it'll be quite a close one. United are looking a lot better than they have in the prior seasons, but Man City are also looking better as well. But De Bruyne is usually quite a big game player, and that's why I'm not worried about him, but I am slightly worried about him versus Mo Salah, especially if you're going to captain Mo Salah. Next up, Maddison, no brainer there, Nottingham Forest at home, plum fixture to actually go for, could even be a captain option, but I'll talk about that at the end of this talking point. But for me, Maddison's a no-brainer here. I brought him in for this fixture and the next one. They're just simply too hard to ignore. Now I actually do hope that Leicester do quite well, maybe rebound off his international break, and Maddison should be fully rested after not being selected for the England squad. Then our next two options have a North London derby in Game Week 9. It's Martinelli and also Saka. Already spoke about Saka for England, came on against Germany, looked really lively. Hope that he can continue or bring that form into the Prem as he has over the prior game weeks. So actually quite excited about owning Saka for this game week, as next week I'll be taking him out for Wilfried Zaha. Martinelli, same thing with Saka, North London derby. Usually there are quite a few goals in this one. Arsenal looking strong from an attacking point of view. Spurs are not the best defensive side this season, but still putting up pretty respectable stats. But let's just hope that Arsenal score a few goals. Then finally moving into our forward line, picks itself again. We got Erling Haaland against United, so completing our Man City triple up. So I do actually hope from an FPL point of view that the blue side of Manchester beats the red. But Haaland's quite an interesting one, having played 90 minutes on Tuesday in that Norway game. Also played 90 minutes in the first game, but because this game is on Sunday, I do expect him to still start. Then we have Mitrovic against Newcastle, tough game on paper. Newcastle are quite a strong defense, and unfortunately for me it seems like double defense versus Mitrovic, so I almost hope that Mitrovic might blank. But if he does blank, hopefully Fulham don't score and I do get that double Newcastle clean sheet. Now Mitrovic has also come off international break with a potential knock on his ankle, so please monitor that situation and wait for the press conference coming up on Thursday or Friday. But for now, we assume that he's going to play, otherwise Kurt Zuma could always come off our bench. Then the final option to go for is going to be Solanke, the new transfer in, but don't worry, I haven't confirmed this transfer. I will confirm it over my Discord channel or on the Deadline stream coming up on Saturday. Now, the fixture against Brentford, I think, have kept one clean sheet this entire season. I might be wrong on that, they might have kept none, but definitely not the best defense in the Prem at the moment, and that's why I do still like Solanke's chances. Now, this is a home game, but to be honest, for Bournemouth, I don't think it matters if it's home or away. They're pretty terrible all over the park, so I just hope they rebound off this international break. But I think there might be a debate between Kurt Zuma and Solanke. Who would you play out of these two? Zuma might actually be the more sensible one, but I do feel Solanke has the high ceiling, as the West Ham defense hasn't been as strong as it's been. But overall, here's a look at how a team could set up for the upcoming Game Week 9. Solanke obviously in for Isaac, 1.5 in the bank, with one eye on Mo Salah and the other on Trent for Game Week 12. Now the final talking point to actually go over on our team selection is going to be all about captaincy. So right now for my own team, I don't own a Mo Salah. If I did own Salah, I probably would captain him. So if you guys are wildcarding or on free transfers, maybe look to bring him in, as I do actually think he's the best option for this week. So for my own team, it's between two options, Erling Haaland and then James Maddison. So Maddison definitely the more kind of ambitious option, the more maverick option, whereas Erling Haaland probably the safer option to go for. And I do think he's going to be pumped for the first Manchester derby. So currently the captaincy is going to be on the Norwegian, but James Maddison is kind of knocking on the door. I'm just waiting for that press conference because if any bad news comes about Haaland, then Maddison will get the armband. So also let me know who you guys are captaining for the upcoming Game Week 9. Are you going Maverick, James Maddison or Salah, or are you going conservative and sticking with the effective ownership monster of Erling Haaland? But this is basically over the video, guys. Hope you did enjoy. Please to like it if you did and subscribe if you're new subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys hopefully for the deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline on Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are around the world. But I'm signing off with Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.